Hey there, it's Andy Werner here. And listen, I wanted to take this time, just a brief little bit, to do a case study for you guys on how I have done two deals in the last 2 weeks in the most competitive market in the country, Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so whether you realize this or not, whether you're located in Phoenix or not, or you're in some other market, just know that Phoenix is the most competitive market in the country for doing what it is that I do, or what it is that you aspire to do, or actually are currently doing, which is real estate investing, buying, fixing, flipping, wholesaling, renting of distressed property. Okay, so this is the most competitive market in the country, hands down, bar none, for finding deals because there's just so many people doing it here. All right, but I want you to know that if I can do this in this most competitive market in the country, you absolutely can do it wherever you're at. In fact, we're teaching students how to do this right here in Phoenix as well. I have many successful students that are doing this right now, but I just want to show you two case studies of deals that I have done here recently, like I said, in the last 2 weeks. Both of them done different ways. So I'm going to tell you the first one was one that required no marketing dollars, all right? So it required no money. So for those of you out there that have a very limited marketing budget or have no marketing budget, this is a way that you'd go about this. So we got this property at 3511 East Baseline Road, unit 1111. Actually, just got this one under contract last week. Okay, and this was off of cold calling. All right, yep, just picked up the phone and called, dialing for dollars, right? And so obviously we're not just calling everybody out of the phone book, we're calling specific lists of people. This particular list, if I look at my notes here, was a cold call on what we'd call a no mortgage list from somebody who had purchased the property between the years of 2009 and 2013. Now, the reason why I chose that here in this specific market is 2009 was obviously the very bottom of the market, and it was just slowly coming up out of the market, out of that recession, that downturn, all the way until 2013. And so they would definitely have equity today, but they also had no mortgage. So we cold called on that specific list, and obviously there was a lot of people that fit into that list, so we had a lot of people that we could call, and this particular person ended up getting under contract with us. Now, what I want to stress here is that it was in the follow-up that this happened, all right? So the fortune's in the follow-up. So, our script sounds something, a little bit like this. Hey, I'm looking for John Smith, right? So this is what my cold call script would sound, something like this. Hey, I'm looking for John Smith. Oh, hey, John. Hey, listen, my name's Andy Werner, and I'm sorry this call is out of the blue, but I was calling about a home I believe you own on 3511 East Baseline Road. I'm actually looking to buy a home in the neighborhood and wanted to see if you had thought about selling it or would consider an offer. All right, and that's really as simple as it is. And then depending on what they answer or how they go about the response from there depends on which direction we take them, and then when they kind of go into a nurture sequence if they have any interest whatsoever. This particular individual wasn't interested in selling that minute, although they did have some interest, and so we followed up with them 43 times, actually, to be exact, 43 times. Many of those times, in fact, over half of those 43 times, no response. All right, so they had initially said that they were interested, but then we continued to follow up, whether it was by phone call or text message or by email, all right, and continued to follow up until finally they were like, they raised their hand. So again, we're not being annoying, we're not being awful, we're not pestering them. We're just, until they say, hey, go away, or they sell their property to somebody else, we're going to continue to follow up with them because they initially had some interest in wanting to sell and sell fast for cash. All right, and so we did our follow-up and continue to do that over the next number of weeks, those 43 times, until they finally raised their hand and said, yep, we're ready to sell. Boom, so we got that property under contract for $60,000, and that's a $95,000, not a house, it's just a little teeny condo. It's like 500 square feet in South Phoenix. And again, we get that under contract for $60,000, and that property is retail 95. Doesn't need much work. In fact, it could probably be put on the market right now. It needs very, very little work. And actually, we're just in the process of wholesaling that to another investor right now for, I believe we've got that one done for 74. So 74,000. So that's $14,000 profit that investor is going to have a great little cash flow deal if that's what they want to do as far as a rental is concerned, or they're going to just put a sign in the yard, maybe do some very minor touch up on it and sell it, and they'll make their own money. All right, so there's lots of money to be had here. Again, that's case study one. We haven't even closed on that one yet. All right, so that's one that we got through zero marketing dollars, just doing cold calling. And again, we've got systems and stuff that we do that with. Typically, we use a dialer system. Mojo Dialer is the one that we particularly prefer because it allows us to be able to dial 3 people at the same time. So that's much more efficient than you constantly dialing in with your finger on your cell phone. Okay, so that's deal number 1. Okay, in this case study. Deal number 2 in this case study was done through direct mail. Now, I still think direct mail is an exceptionally good way of going. If it works in Phoenix, Arizona, the most competitive market in the country, I promise you it will work in your market. And in fact, it'll work much, much more effectively. Now, direct mail does cost money because there's cost for postage and there's cost for ink and paper and all that kind of stuff. But it's an extremely effective marketing method. And even in this super competitive market, it still works and it's still effective. So I'll tell you a little bit about this direct mail campaign that I did because I'm continuing to do that in this market to this day. And so we sent out a handful of postcards, right, to a specific mailing list. And in this case case study portion that I'm going to tell you about, it was a vacant house list, right? So we just bought a list from a list broker on vacant houses in Maricopa County, Arizona, okay? And we did a direct mail, peace out. In fact, our card looks something like this, okay? Very simple. It's just two-sided, right? Very, very simple card, all right? Basically at the top it just says I can pay top dollar for your house, and then there's a bunch of stuff that it says underneath of that, okay? But that particular card pulls really well for us, and we've tested lots and lots of different direct mail cards, but this one works really, really well for us. And so we send that out to a lot of people on this vacant house list, and then the phone calls start coming in, and we get a certain amount of phone calls off of the direct mail pieces that we send out. And one of the gentlemen that called us was somebody who, let me see here, looking at my notes. He called us on the 21st of May. Okay, so this is less than a month ago. All right, the 21st of May, 5/21/2018. All right, so he calls us and he says, yeah, hey, listen, I want to sell my house. I'm ready to sell it. I'm ready to close now. Fast for cash. Right, what will you guys give me? And his property address, again, 11115 West Cameo Drive, Sun City, Arizona. Okay, so this is a retirement area. So 11115 West Cameo Drive. And so we went out and went to the property, scheduled an appointment with them. We built a lot of rapport with the seller, which that means that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about them, being interested in them, being interested in their situation, much more than we are about the house. There's always going to be time to talk about the house, but we wanted to really talk about that individual, what he had going on in his life, why it is that he needed to sell at that time, what things have been going on, and what have you. And this individual, this property had actually been in his family since the property was built back in the 70s. So although it was a retirement community and he was retired himself, he was not the original owner. However, it had been in his family for a long time, so his parents had been retired in that home at one point. And so now he just was wanting to move on and move to another state, wasn't using it, whatever the situation was, but he wanted out fast for cash. And so ultimately we ended up making him an offer for $115,000. We thought this property all fixed up was probably worth $195 to $200. Now, this house was extremely dated, wasn't rough, wasn't in bad shape, just very dated, so it needed to be updated. Okay, and so we wholesaled this to one of our investor buyers for $130,000. We just assigned the contract, so a true net $15,000 right into our pocket for doing this deal. Right, so we got it under contract for $115,000, and then we got one of our investor buyers to actually go to the title company and pay $130,000 for it, and the title company cut us a check for $15,000. And again, that's for 11115 West Cameo Drive in Sun City, and that was off the vacant house list. And listen, that one just closed on June 1st. So from the time that the man called us on 5/21, we closed on it roughly 10 days later on June 1st. So from the day that we got the initial phone call, we went on an appointment, got him to sign a contract within 48 hours of the very first time that we ever spoke to him. And we had that property closed within 10 days from that initial contact, and we made $15,000. Okay, so you too can do this with the right tools and the right actions. So the reason why I'm doing this case study right now, the reason why I wanted to show you this right now today, as I sit out here on my patio in Arizona right now, as it's actually a not too hot June day, is because I want to say, hey, look, I can help you do this too. Look, if I can do this in the most competitive market in the country, I'm certain I can help you do this where you're at as well. And I've got lots of students' testimonials to be able to prove this, not just in this market, but many other markets. In fact, our students in other markets are doing vastly better than some of our students in this market. But our students in this market, so if you are in Phoenix, I don't want to discourage you, because we've got students who have, I've got a student who in the last 6 months has made over $100,000 in wholesale deals right here in Phoenix Metro, and that's all just doing wholesale. Okay, and he's just doing and leading by what it is that we've taught him here. All right, so all that to be said, if you'd like my help, to be able to help you do these type of deals, just like I showed you on these case studies here in this market. Again, I'm not going to help you necessarily in this market unless you are in this market, but regardless of what market you're in, I wanted to show you these case studies of me doing these deals right here in the last few weeks in the most competitive market in the country. If you'd like my help to help you wherever that market is that you're in, whether that's Phoenix, Arizona, whether it's Tampa, Florida, whether you're in St. Louis or Portland, Oregon, or somewhere in between or even outside that, I'd love to help you. So get back in touch with me, and we'll see if we can't put something together. But I know that we can put the tools and systems in place for you to be able to do these same type of deals. Hope you're doing well, and look forward to working directly with you. Okay, bye.